What's good, YouTube? My name is Coach, and in today's video we're going to be going over my Commander deck collection that I've been collecting since 2014. And if you guys have any suggestions, as always, like the other videos, you can leave it in the comment section below, and I genuinely appreciate your help in making my Commander decks play better with your suggestions. Just keep in mind, you can subscribe to this channel. You don't have to subscribe to this channel. I'm genuinely just appreciative of the fact that you clicked on my video. So what I'm gonna do is go over as many of these as I can in 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna stop the video and then upload another video, and I'm gonna do that as many times until I get the opportunity to go over all the different decks over here. So let me just grab all of these. I'll push them over to the side and then we'll get started. First commander that we're going to go over is Inala, the Archmage Ritualist. This is a wizard tribal commander deck. This commander deck plays slow and is very much a control deck, and the goal is just to stay alive until you can combo out and win the game by making infinite mana and just doing stuff like that. Next commander we have here is Saskia, the Unyielding. This is a Blood Rush tribal commander deck. This deck is taking me a while to... Blood Rush is not the most popular mechanic in Magic the Gathering, so fine-tuning this has been something that I've been working on, and eventually one day this commander deck may be fun to play. Right now it's definitely the worst I have, if I'm being honest. The next commander deck we have here is Levio, Oathsworn Sentinel, and Itch. So the whole point of this deck, this is really a Levio deck. It's just about flickering creatures that have cool enter the battlefield effects. And when the Salvage Splicer is flickered, he creates a 3/3 token. And it's just something to flicker in the command zone, I suppose. But Levio is basically the real commander of this deck. The next commander we have here is Zafi, Thunder Conductor. This is a prison style commander deck. Think Tyrant, Sky Summoner, but just an Izzet. And a lot of the counter spells inside this deck are the counter spells that allow you to pay X into them, so that you can customize the amount of mana as you're countering the spells, so that you can get Zafi's triggers. Next card we have here is Timothar Baron of Bats. We have a video of this commander on the channel already, so if you're interested in learning more, you can watch that video. Next commander we have here is Edgar Markov. This is Vampire Tribal, low CMC. This is a very glass cannon-y type deck. We have videos on this in the channel. You're more than welcome to watch those videos if you want to learn more. Next commander we have here is Raynar, the Ever Watchful. Raynar, this is a flickering tribal deck. Not too many counter spells inside this deck, if I'm being honest. And it's just about creating a ton of tokens, playing anthems to make them stronger, and then just dealing damage with those creatures. Next commander we have here is the Dragon. This is a lifelink dragon tribal deck, and it's just focused on putting a ton of dragons onto the board, and then you gain life as they enter the battlefield. Next commander we have here is Hylath, World Sculptor. This is a landfall deck that's focused on putting a bunch of +1/+1 counters on the plants that you control, and then attacking your opponents with those plants as a double striking trample creature. Next commander we have here is AC, Tyrant of Gyre Straight. This commander is all about just putting a ton of lands into play and then casting Nyx Bloom Ancient so that your mana taps for triple, and then you play Helix Pinnacle to then end the game. The next commander we have here is Crick, son of Yagmoth. This is definitely the most powerful commander deck that I have. I would say that this is probably maybe not CEDH, but close to CEDH, as close as I could get to. This is just, you know, there's just a bunch of tutors inside here, and you just win the game with Bolster Citadel. The next commander we have here is Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice. There are videos for this commander on the channel, so you're more than welcome to watch those videos. Next commander we have here is Grun the Lonely King. This commander is just about putting a ton of mana into play and then casting Grun. When he enters the battlefield, he'll get 5 counters, so he'll be a 10/10. So if you can give him just +1/+1, he turns into a 21/21 creature that you can attack with, or a 22/22 creature you can attack with. More often than not, he's a lot stronger than that, and you just one-shot people. Next commander we have here is Carametra, God of Harvest. This is the human tribal precon for Midnight Hunt. It's just nice to have Carametra in the command zone because she allows you to get a ton of lands into play for casting your human creatures. The next commander we have here is Sequoia, Deathkeeper. This is a board wipe, land destruction type deck. There are more videos on this on the channel. It's actually the first video I ever created. You're more than welcome to go watch that video to learn more about this deck. The next commander we have here is Brian Stout Arm. This commander is all about stealing your opponent's creatures and then sacrificing them and doing fun things like just creating tokens of other creatures you control with Kiki Jiki so that you can attack or sacrifice them to Brian Stout Arm. Next commander we have here is Harold, the King of Skemfar. This is just an elf tribal deck. It's just about putting a ton of elves into play, casting Endre's Forerunners, and just dealing a ton of damage to people. Next commander we have here is Nashee, Moonsage's Scion. Listen, I'm going to be honest, I'm in the process of retooling this deck, so I'm not going to have much to say, but there's a ton of videos for this so far of this deck on the channel. You're more than welcome to watch those videos. The next commander we have here is Jairus, the Waker of Corpses. This is a reanimator landfall type deck, so we're reanimating cards like Hilath and Omnath. And if you have the opportunity to cast Jairus when you have a ton of lands into play, Jairus will enter the battlefield as a 24/24 creature with trample and haste to one-shot your opponents. Next commander we have here is the Scorpion God. This is a group slug deck, and we mainly use the Scorpion God to put -1/-1 counters on your opponent's creatures to then draw cards. Scorpion God's pretty fun. Next commander we have here is Brandus, Rage of Ancients. This is a fight tribal type deck, and it's just about fighting creatures with Brandus and then creating tokens to attack with. And there are infinite combos inside this deck as well, and this deck is mean. The next commander we have here is Kakusho, the Evening Star. The only reason I built this deck was because I learned that Kakusho was banned at one point, and that's literally my reasoning. You just gain a ton of life and deal a lot of damage. This is a good commander in a 4-player game. Next commander we have here is Millicent, Restless Revenant. This commander is all about playing cards that give our flying creatures some sort of anthem type effect, and then we play enchantments that turn all of our creatures into spirits, which is going to reduce the cost of Millicent, which lets us get her into play much faster. Next commander we have here is Skullbriar, the Walking Grave. This is a Voltron. This is commander that I would recommend for people who are brand new to the format. Skullbriar is an extremely straightforward style deck. He keeps whatever counters he receives. So whether it's +1/+1 counters, a trample counter, death touch counter, hexproof counter, indestructible counter, he always receives and just keeps those counters no matter what, which makes him a difficult creature to deal with over the course of a game. Next commander we have here is Oketra. Oketra is just a mono white deck that allows you to put a ton of 4/4 tokens into play, because you're getting to recast cheap to cast creatures over and over again. Next commander we have here is Cathrol Aspect Warper. This is another elf tribal deck. This is actually the Lathril precon. I just made Cathrol the commander because it rhymed with Lathril. Next commander we have here is Karthus, Tyrant of Jund. Karthus is just a non-basic land destruction deck, and you basically ramp. You have a ton of lands in play, and your opponents have less lands in play if they're playing non-basics, and then you can just overwhelm your opponents with the amount of mana you have and the amount of power you have on the board, because dragons tend to be strong. Next commander we have here is Krenko, Tin Street Kingpin. This is in my opinion, my favorite version of Krenko, because this creature can attack once and it can just completely change the entire landscape of a game based on the number of goblins you're able to create. Krenko is incredibly fun. The next commander we have here is Marisi, Breaker of the Coil. This is a werewolf tribal enchantress commander deck. So we're using the white in this color pie to play the cards that force everyone to only cast one spell per turn. But when you have two enchantresses in play, you cast an enchantment, it'll draw you 2 cards. You'll deal damage to an opponent. You force everyone to attack. So it's just the combination of everything creates the... You're only casting 1 spell per turn, but you're able to control the game much more than everyone else can. And it's the most successful werewolf deck I've ever made. Humbly. The next commander deck that we have here is Gahiji, Honored One. This is a deck that's focused on just casting enchantments on your opponent's creatures, forcing them to attack or not allowing them to attack, so that your opponents are unable to block your opponent's creatures from attacking them when they receive the buff from Gahiji. The next commander we have here is Snapdax, Apex of the Hunt. We do have a video for this commander on the channel, so you are more than welcome to watch that video so you can learn a little bit more about this Snapdax deck. Really short, this is an Infect, Mutate, Reanimator, +1/+1 counter deck. And we're about at 14 minutes right now, so I'm actually going to end this video here. If you want to check out the rest of the commanders that we have in this collection, you can click on this video right here, okay? Hope you enjoyed the video so far, alright? Peace.